what up? Welcome to another episode of Source and Company. I'm your host, Source, of course. As always, you can follow me on Instagram and or Twitter at Smitty Source on both of those. Subscribe to the Source and Company YouTube channel. Follow the Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and follow the Source NCO Podcast _RVA Instagram. That's a lot, but watch it again and write it down, take a picture, do something. All right, let's get into it. So today's company is let's see, what is he? He's a former Herm squad student athlete. Went to Towson University, played football there. We're going to talk about that. Now he is the founder of, well, you can see it right there, Unleash Skills. Unleash Skills is a speed, agility, and football fundamentals program. And I am glad to talk to my guy. And we played flag football together back in the day. I got to tell y'all this story about when he caught his one-hand joint on two grown men. It was embarrassing. But anyway,
yeah.
guy, Dominique Booker. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Always. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me for a little bit and chop it up about Unleash Skills and your life as a whole, man.
Absolutely, man. Long overdue. We've been trying to get this on the books for a while.
You're right. So I'm glad we're getting to do this now. How you been?
Been doing good, man. Just trying to maintain. Everything is a little shaken up in the world right now, and we're just trying to stay on course and do what we got to do. Stay healthy.
Indeed. Speaking of health, because I mentioned Unleash Skills, which is a program, and you are usually outside, right? But with COVID obviously being in the forefront, you can't necessarily get people together, whether it's inside or outside, or
Right.
you couldn't over the past few months, almost a year, at different times and spaces in that. Before we get into Unleash Skills, how has it been for you, just COVID overall, even from the beginning?
From the very beginning, I started out the program just having 5 kids out at a time, trying to make sure we had enough space for everybody to maneuver, keeping them 6 feet apart, not doing any type of contact drills, no one-on-ones or anything of that nature. Every time we ran our drills, we used our yard markers, having them 5 yards apart. I think we had them at the time. And like I said, I was only working groups of 5. And that was probably for about the first, I would say, month and a half, 2 months. And then we ended up having groups around when the restrictions kind of changed again in the summertime. We had groups around 10 to, I think the most I had out there at one time was 15. But even then we were at a big field where we were breaking up. One coach would have 5 kids, another coach would have 5 kids, and quarterbacks would be with the other coach. So we were never really all on each other. So we was able to separate it a lot. Now, fast forward to the point of now in January, definitely keeping with those same restrictions, but making sure we're having our mask on. We're definitely not doing any type of one-on-ones or anything like that, especially with the season approaching. Hopefully for these kids in January, don't want to risk anybody getting any type of injuries, anything like that. So it's been challenging. You had to be creative, but it takes a lot of trust from the parents, knowing that I'm in control when I have their children. And then also from the guys, they do a great job of, managing them themselves. They'll space themselves out. They know how to maneuver and get the job done. So I give them a lot of credit too.
Definitely. So how long have you been how long has Unleashed Skills been up and running?
Man, actually, I just got a notification about a week ago. I had put my first post up of Unleashed Skills in a sense of, kind of just trying to bring some buzz, putting a little bit of messages out there, putting putting that everywhere, because Unleashed Skills, I also go by that acronym of US, which I got from my wife. My wife actually helped me out with creating the name. We just sitting down, just trying to figure out something that, not only something that would attract to the athletes and have a meaning, but also something that's just bigger about us building and being together. And, what better way to do that than us? So it was definitely about a week or two ago, last year in 2020, right before the madness started, obviously. But yeah, I've been preparing this, man, probably started in about 2018 when I started thinking about it, writing my notes down. Yeah, I really planned on this because, I knew that I wanted to have a family, and, I had my 1-year-old, and almost 2-year-old in May. So I knew I had to take a step back from coaching, and I wanted to still get my point across to the kids and be a mentor and be in their lives. So I started working on that program back in 2018 and just jotting down, writing, journaling, and then, started putting the groundwork down, and it really started to become, reality. And once I
That's
put it
dope.
out there, I started hearing buzz back, and it was on from there.
That's dope, bro. Congratulations on that. Yeah,
Thank you.
you mentioned coaching. So you were an assistant at Hermitage as well.
Yeah.
I had to mention that. So we'll talk about that. But let's take it back. Let's take it back to the early days. First of all, where did you play Little League? Did you play just one place or did you move around?
Oh yeah, no, it was a different era, man. We stayed at one spot. I was at Virginia Randolph. I grew up right off of Mountain Road in Laurel West. Everybody from my neighborhood, we all went to Virginia Randolph. You could stand outside your house, sit at the mailbox. Somebody was gonna pick you up at 10 minutes to 6 and make sure you got the practice, man. And so I would play at Randolph. I started at when I was 5 years old. I actually didn't even make I didn't make it to make the cut. I was 5 when I started. You're supposed to be 6 at the time. And I don't know, my mom finagled something to get me in there. And I started playing flag. I played at Randolph until I was, I want to say 13 or 12, all the way up to midgets. And then I went ahead and went to Brooklyn and played. I just wanted to try that atmosphere of trying out for a team. That really intrigued me to see how I lined up against, bigger, stronger, faster guys. So it's a challenge.
So you have a brother and a sister, right?
I actually have 3 brothers and 1 sister. I have, 2 brothers from my dad and my mom and my sister. I mean, my mom had my older brother and my sister. That's who I grew up with.
Gotcha. That's my dude, Pat, man. Pat, your brother.
Solid.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Ever since he was young, though, like since I've known him, he's always been the same dude.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always run across people that's like that. So you got to appreciate that when you see it.
Absolutely.
So, like you mentioned, you grew up with your brother and your sister and your mom. How was when you think about your childhood or just growing up outside of sports, like just through high school, when you think about just growing up, what comes to mind?
Man, unity, togetherness. My mom was really the foundation, for us in terms of raising us. My dad was around, obviously, he did a great job in doing his part as well. But, being with my mom day in and day out, as a young kid and growing up into my teenage years, I was so lucky to have my older brother and older sister. I was the baby. So, I got away with a lot of stuff that they didn't get away with. And I also was able to escape a lot of beatings that they couldn't escape because they took them for me. Just because of things that they would do to bite that bullet for me, especially my brother. So it just was a great time. And we had so many good memories just being in that house and, laughing and joking and eating together and, watching TV together, playing games together and the holidays and stuff that we spent together, man, it's cool. And even to this day now, if we ever get that little moment where it's just me, my mom, my brother, and my sister, we still kind of like look at each other like, man, we all got kids now, and my mom being a grandmother, so we don't really used to get that moment as much as we used to. But man, it was some fun times, man. It wasn't always great, but it was fun.
Right. Well, when you're growing up, a lot of times you don't internalize everything. Obviously, you don't internalize everything like the parent does because you don't have the pressure, and you don't necessarily think about rich, poor, in between, whatever, unless it's come down to something specific. But you're not thinking about that on a day-to-day basis. You just think about what's going on at that moment.
Absolutely, man. And it's crazy. We never went without, and that's the thing that that I always harp on a lot is we always get so caught up in material things, and everybody wondering what this person got and what I don't have. But man, I felt like we were at times. I felt like we were the richest people in the world. My mom always made things happen that I didn't think was possible. Between her and my brother and my grandparents and my uncles and my father. Everybody always played away. Nobody told who did it. I just always assumed it was that superwoman. So we always made things happen for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if your mom even I don't think your mom knows me, but we've been in the barbershop and all
the time. Yeah,
times and laughing, joking, whatever. Your mom, your mom, no joke though. Like I feel like She's a serious person. She plays no games.
Oh yeah, no, whew. No, that Lisa Moore was no joke, man. She played no games with anybody, and I mean anybody. It didn't matter who kid you were. If you did something wrong, she was gonna call you on it. But in her past life now, as a Mimi, as she goes by, she let those kids get away with everything. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, what is that, dog? Because you hear that all the time. Once they come from being the parent to the grandparent, it's like they give them whatever they
oh man,
let them run around. It's crazy. It's crazy.
it
Change.
no, they could do anything. I had my son one time over my dad's house, and here I have to walk in the house and take my shoes off. But when I come in, this dude was walking on top of his furniture, and I'm trying to get him down. My dad like, nah, he's fine, don't worry about it. I'm like, here I am sitting in my socks, and this man got his shoes on your couch. It just that's how they do.
That is how they do it, indeed. And another thing, I'm just throwing this out there because I did not realize. I thought you were older than your sister. I don't know your sister. I just know her from seeing the pictures.
Right.
I thought it was Pat, you, and then her.
Oh no, man, my sister's older than me, just by 1 year. By a
Uh,
year. Yeah, we're 13 months apart actually, to be exact. So
okay.
yeah, no, she is really, you see, that's the thing. You see me, you see my brother. A lot of people don't see my sister as much. She's not really active on social media like that, and she's not shy, but she plays the background. But she is without a doubt the backbone that holds us siblings together. We don't make any moves without Jasmine giving us the okay. She is definitely the boss for sure.
That's dope. That's dope. So you like I mentioned, you played ball, you played football at Hearn at a good time.
Yeah, great time.
Great time. And when you think back on the Herm years on the football field, obviously, I mean, you still rock with Juju, Clayton regularly,
Yeah,
and what's your homie's name that played corner?
Justin Carr. Yeah.
Justin. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you think about when you think about those good times? I know, and I always I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard us in the barbershop, Laurel Barbershop, which is owned by your cousin.
Yes.
Um, Talking about football and high school football to wanting to win a state championship to having a great coach who gets kids placements or helps kids get into college and all that type of stuff, but never quite got to the promised land.
Right.
Kind of like when you look back on that, does it make you, man, I wish we would have won that championship? Obviously, yes, but
Absolutely.
or are you like, man, this man put all us or helped all us get to school, and here we are being successful men at this point.
Well, for me, man, I mean, obviously, I knew the history of Hermitage football before I got there. I mean, I was going to Hermitage football games when I was in like fourth grade. Fourth and fifth grade, I would say, was the first time I went. Still one of my good friends, one of my best friends actually, Justin Carter, his dad, Mr. Carter, God rest his soul, man. He used to take me everywhere with them, and his older brother was in the band, so we would go to the games and we would sit out there every single Friday and watch those games. And I just had my dream was to get out there on that field and be able to play with a lot of my friends. And for me, getting there, I knew the last time that Hermitage had been to a regional championship was back in 1984, and my uncle was actually on that team in 1984. He was actually All Metro player. I think he might have been the last All Metro player that won. He was Offensive Player of the Year and the Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, okay.
So I knew the history of the game, and I knew what I wanted to put my input on. And not just me, but the guys I came in there with, like you mentioned, Juju Clayton and Justin Carr, but another friend of mine who was a captain our senior year, Jamel Davis. We knew what we were coming to Hermitage to do, and we really had our sights set on going to the States. We were saying that back in ninth grade, '08, going to States. We already were saying that. And that's just something that we had dreamed about. And yeah, we fell short of the goal when we lost in the state semifinals. But man, speaking about the coach, Patrick Kane, who's a legend in his own right, changed a lot of young men's lives at Hermitage High School. You really didn't hear about guys going to school from Hermitage. You heard a lot of people that were very, very good high school players, and then you never heard back from them again. And when he got there, he started putting guys on the map, putting kids into colleges, giving guys an opportunity that, I know for myself, I never thought was possible. So yes, on the forefront, should we have won some state championships with him? Absolutely. Absolutely we should have. But Do I regret any of it? Absolutely not. Knowing Coach Kane and the person he is, I know how hard he works, how much time he puts in. He spent so much time away from his family and dedicated so much time to other people, and just the type of person he is. I tell this story actually when he retired. I told him, and you know, he probably didn't even remember it when I said it to him because he had done it so many times. But we were in a rough spot at home, and financially, I couldn't, you know, go to a camp. And he was like, you know, if you can't pay for a camp, you know, why don't you just come and just watch? At least you can come and watch and see what's going on out here, so you know what to expect when you get your opportunity. So we went to JMU, and I'm riding in there with me and Juju and Jamel and Justin. We all going to the camp. Justin White as well. We all going to the camp, and everybody's getting their stuff out. But he told me, actually, back up. He told me to just bring my stuff. He said, you always want to be prepared. Bring your stuff with you. So before we all get out the car, everybody's getting out. He tells me, hey, I want you to hold back for a second. I need you to help me get some at the back. And everybody's walking down the hill. They're gone. And he pulled out an envelope, gave me the money for me to participate in the camp, told me, you fill out the information, you're good to go. And I thanked him for doing that for me when he retired. And, you know, I told him, I said, you probably don't even remember doing this because you probably did it so many times, man. But thank you, because that moment put me in front of these coaches. You know, it put me in a different pedestal. It put me up there with some talented guys, and that could have been an opportunity that I missed. But that's just the type of man that he is, the type of person that he is, and really the figure that a lot of us young guys needed at the time, for sure.
Respect. Yeah. Yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. I think everybody has a coach, whether you were successful playing or not. I think everybody
Absolutely.
that did more than was necessary. For me, I'll just throw this in there. I had this coach named Mr. Dale. Uh, probably white dude, probably, you know, question.
Hmm.
But his nephew or grandson lived across the street from me. He started picking us up together. Later on, I played all star, whatever sport. It was baseball at the time. He had no affiliation with the team. This man still came, picked me up. He knew
Hmm.
no other way to get there. Picked me up, took me, you know, 30 minutes away to practice, took me to the games. Like, so we all had that one that kind of stands out as helping us to be whatever we become in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you thankfully you graduated from Hermitage and moved on to Towson. How, what was the recruiting like? Was it a big thing? I don't remember. Uh, was it a big thing for you? Did you have like a couple of different schools options, or was Towson just the best choice?
Well, you know, for me, man, I was a late bloomer in terms of my recruitment. I played all defense my junior year. I had some good starts. I had an interception, a couple tackles. I was returning punts. Made all district. First team, second team my junior year as a DB. I think I was second team also as a returner. So, I mean, I definitely had my moments, but I ended up switching to offense my senior year. So I played both offense and defense, and I excelled a lot on the offensive end. And what ended up happening, man, I had a lot of D2 schools that were interested in me, especially after my junior year. And then as far as like D1 schools, ECU was at me really hard in terms of a preferred walk on. And then I had guys like Marist and Stony Brook in New York that were interested in me. Delaware was interested in me, but nobody wanted to pull the trigger. You know, I don't know if it was because of size, it was because of, you know, only having really one full year of film at the time as far as a receiver and want to see more. And then just so happened, you know, we had lost the state semifinals game, I think the first week in December. And my friend Justin Carr, he had already had a scholarship from Towson, and he had already committed to Towson actually at the time. He was going on his official visit, and the coach McGlinchey, he hit me up and was like, "Hey, I want you to come. Justin's coming this weekend. I want you to come up here as well." And I went up to Towson, had a great time. I gelled with the coach as well. Got in the meeting room with both the position coach and the head coach. Got on the board a few times, discussed some stuff, and I think they were very impressed by my level of football IQ at that point. And it was up to me and another guy. It was actually 18 people on that trip. I never forget. It was 18 people on that recruiting trip. Me and the other kid were the only ones that didn't have an offer. Everybody else had committed to Towson. They were coming. And it came down to him and I. And before we left, I had our exit meeting with Coach Gordy Combs and Coach McGlinchey, and he offered me the scholarship right there on the spot. And I just looked at my mom, and mom looked at me, and we were like, oh, we're gonna go home and think about it and all this other stuff, man. But we knew we were gonna take that scholarship offer right there on the spot, and it was just a dream come true, man. Because that's something that I always wanted to do, going to college and playing football. Not really for me though, really for my brother. My brother, I to this day I tell people all the time, as physically gifted as anybody as I've ever seen, that was his dream. His
Yeah.
dream was to go to play college football. So I felt like it was my obligation. I took that on me to push it to that limit, and I wanted to do that for him. So for me to get that scholarship, it really felt like I did that, and me and him got that scholarship. So it was definitely, it was a beautiful moment for sure to share that with him.
Yeah, man, that's dope. The first time I actually saw you play at Towson is because of social media, and your brother had posted something like, I'm scrolling through. He was like, Towson's on blah blah blah. I was like, oh, for real? Let me go and check this joint out. And you were, I don't know if you were returning punts at the moment, or I know you were in the back. No, you were in the backfield.
Yeah.
Backfield. Actually, the second time I saw you, you kind of went off. I feel like you had like a buck.
Yeah, I had a big game. My senior year, I had a 187 yard game, 187
Yeah,
yard
yeah.
game, and that was definitely the highlight of my college career. It was a good finale to have. But I had some, actually, when I played on TV. Ironically, I had some good games when I played on TV. So it was a lot of support coming from the Richmond area. So I definitely appreciate it, especially my people from the barbershop. They always put me on, and Reggie used to tell me all the time, if I can't make it, I'm gonna put it on the TV. So I definitely salute everybody there for sure.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. How was that experience though? Like, did you, when you go to college, you go in one way, you come out another way, and you have football on top of that. Did you feel like you changed? Obviously, everybody changes. Did you feel like you changed at an exponential rate as far as from coming in to going out of the Towson?
Dramatically. It was crazy. I mean, I came into Towson, I was a buck 65, buck 64 when I came in, and I never forget. We really went through like the gauntlet. They it was a time where unless you were that guy, I mean, you were undoubtedly ready to play. You were redshirt, and you knew you were redshirt when you came in the door. It was no secret.
Mhm.
And so our practice, we had really, like, looking back on it now, it was miserable in the sense of like meetings all day, having that regiment every single day. You wake up, you eat, treatments, meetings, go back, eat, practice, treatments, meetings, dinner, go to sleep. That regiment, when you 18 years old, you're not used to it. It was crazy for me. But as far as like on the field, we did nothing. We did nothing but warm up, individual drills, scout drills, and you watched practice all day long. And it was crazy for me. So in that first 3.5 weeks of camp, I actually won an award because I gained the most weight. I came in at 165, 164. I ended camp at 177, which is a lot of guys don't do. You don't really gain weight in camp. You try to maintain in camp, but you don't really gain weight in camp. And I was able to gain so much weight, so I got all the confidence off of that. But as far as like the mentality, man, I mean, I was very uh, naive to the game in terms of the politics that come with the game, the numbers game, and things of that nature. I came in as a receiver. I ended up switching to running back because of numbers, because we had 15 receivers and we were down to 2 running backs. And I was given the opportunity to switch over and play running back. And, I wasn't prepared for it. I don't think my body was ready for it. And, but I adapted as best as I could. And I think for me, outside of football, just that mental aspect, I think a lot of kids aren't ready for, in the sense of being able to really grow up and mature. Like I said, I was the baby, I was the youngest. So I wasn't really used to fending for myself a lot by myself when I was out there. So, the questions and things I needed answers for, I didn't have mom there, brother there, sister there to help me. Had to kind of figure that out. And that could frustrate you as a young man, as a young adult. I would say, I wouldn't even say I was a man at the time. I was a young adult legally. But I learned some ways the hard way. I wanted to quit 2 or 3 times. I never forget, man. My sophomore year, actually my freshman year, but my sophomore year at school, and I was ready to go. I packed up all my stuff. I just had reached a point where I just didn't think this was for me, and I called my mom. My mom was like, all right, well, I'll come get you tomorrow. All right, tomorrow I'll come, call her again. I'll come get you the next day. Just think about it. I'm like, all right, man. She gave me the runaround. So then I ended up calling my girl now my wife. And I'm like, man, I need you to come get me. My mom not coming to get me, whatever. And she was about to come. And then I ended up getting a phone call from my grandmother and really put things in line for me and was like, you can't do this. You set up to do something, finish that job, stick it out. And I'm so glad that she did that because it changed my life. For sure. She didn't quit on me, and neither did my mom. And I later found out that my mom was stalling me because she had already talked to the coaches at Towson, and they said, whatever you do, don't come pick him up. He can do this. He could play on this level. And that's that thing and that it factor that as parents about knowing your children, knowing your child, man, my mom knew me to the T. She knew that I could do it. I just had to push through that moment. And, they changed my life. My mom and my grandmother and those coaches for not giving up on me. They definitely made an imprint. And I'm here today to tell my story.
Bruh. I mean, I was going to mention it. I was like, I remember you coming home. Frustrated, particular time. But yeah, I mean, and we never know. We never know what we're going to have to go through when we go into new situations. It's brand new. And sometimes you hit that point, but you got to fight through that point to get to where you are today.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. It was hard, man. It's a hard struggle. And I think a lot of kids need to know that. I see so much now with, guys transferring over and over again. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. There's nothing wrong with transferring, but there is beauty in the process. And the process is not going to be perfect every single time. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get rolled over. You're going to get up. And you're going to get knocked down again and rolled over. And then you get back up. It's trials to it. You just got to be ready to weather that storm, because whether it's going to be in the schoolroom or it's going to be in terms of training, or it's going to be on the field work or anything of that nature, you're going to have to compete and just be better of it. You know what I mean? And I had some guys that pushed me in terms of on the field. I had running backs that was in the room that I knew for a fact were better than me. I just had to outwork them. I had to outlearn them. I had to put in more work in the film room than they had to, because they had more gifts than I had. Build the trust up from the coaches. You just got to do different things. Got to find your niche. And, being able to build with those guys, along with getting with a great coach in Reno Ferree, my junior year, 2011, that is really when I learned the game of football. He really taught me X's and O's. He really taught me schemes. He showed me how to watch film, break it down, and then how to go out on the practice field. And it was easy. Games were easy. Practice was actually, let me take that back. Practice was hard because of him. It was brutal, but the game was a piece of cake. I would never felt like I was not prepared. I never felt like I didn't see something. They threw something new at me from a defensive standpoint, because he made sure I knew everything. And that's really what put the imprint on me in terms of being able to play and be active. A lot of guys go to college. You see them only play 1 year, half a year. I was able to play all 4 years. I never not played, whether it was special teams or offense, because I was just willing to learn.
That's crazy. That's so that really speaks to the fact that you went into coaching at the high school level later, and then to now to skills. But before I get to that, I got to go back to the story. So, all right. So it's flag football, freshmen. Like that's what we do. I mean, we hoop, we do whatever, but flag football is a big deal on the East Coast.
We're a little late. We're a little too early in our time, and these guys are playing national. Some of them getting on TV. We could have had our moment.
I know, right? For real. Especially the TV joint. I was like, really, bro?
For sure.
But so we're on the same squad. Dominique and I are lined up at receiver. I'm in the slot. He's at the wide. Case was. We're near the goal line. We on routes. I run an out. He runs a slant. The quarterback just threw. I don't know. He had a lot of faith. He threw the ball in between two defenders. Two grown men. Let's back up. Dominique is 17 at the time.
17.
In 11th grade. Dog, the pass time. I'm like, the pass is going out of the end zone. Two men jump. This man jumps in between the two dudes one hand,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm standing no more than 3 yards away.
Mm.
This man snatched that joint on top of these two dudes. They fell to the ground. He turned around in the end zone. It was one of the more ridiculous things I've seen, like on a flag football field. That joint was crazy.
Yeah, man. I was always joking with people about that. They didn't believe me. And then remember, a lot of those guys started getting mad when they found that I was 17 years old. They didn't want me out there for it. But man, that was one of those plays. And the quarterback at the time was Cam. Cam Anderson, and that's
Yeah.
somebody that I played with Cam at Randolph. So we had so much chemistry, and he lived across the street from me my entire life. So we had so much chemistry. He knew that if he put it up there, it was going to give me a chance. Whether I was going to catch the ball or I was going to knock it down from getting intercepted, but he knew if he put it up there, I would get a chance. So that was, I honestly, when I made it seem like that I knew I was going to catch that pass by the way my reaction was, I had no idea. I just went up there. I saw it. I knew I had a split second to grab it and pull it down because they were big. They were big guys. And it worked out, man. Luckily at the time, I mean, not luckily, but at the time we didn't have the phones out like that, and nobody was recording. We didn't have nobody taking pictures. You know what I'm saying? But it was definitely one of those ones you had to be there.
That's all right. I got the mental
Oh
picture.
no, you painted it. You painted all the way out because that was the whole thing. Goal line, slant out. That was their favorite routes. Slant
Yeah.
out all the time. That's why we could never beat y'all. We ain't gonna talk about that
Yeah,
though.
that's a whole nother story. Later on. So like I mentioned, you went to Towson. Oh, about doing, like, did you have dreams, aspirations of playing at the next level after that, as far as Towson?
I think when I got there, I think that's what my mind was on. Like, I go in here and I can, get better and have my shot at the pros. But like I was saying, switching from receiver to running back definitely took a toll on my body. Almost to the point where it was unbearable at times. And I, again, having a coach like Reno Free who knew me, and he knew that I knew the game. He knew I knew the game plan. He knew that I didn't need as much practice as other guys in those situations. Not saying I was better than them, but I had already been in those situations, and I knew what to do if we got a cat blitz. I knew what to do if we got a X switch coming in the middle of the field, or we're facing the over front versus under front. I knew all of that already. He understood that. I knew our playbook from the back of my hand, so that wasn't a problem. But he knew that practice was hard. He made it hard. That was his whole point. And we reached a point during that season, my senior year, he was like, hey, he pulled me in the office with the trainer and the head coach and said, how about we don't make them practice until walkthrough on Thursday? And they were like, are you okay with that? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that. And everybody made it work. And that's when I had the best year that I had at Towson, because they took it easier on me in terms of practice, but they knew that I knew my game. I knew the game plan. I knew how to perform on Saturdays. And at that point, man, when the last whistle, when I didn't know that was going to be my last play, the last game that I would play, but because we thought we might have a chance to go to the playoffs at 7-4, we fought back. We were 3-4. We had a tough schedule. We played against Kent State that year that won 10 games. We played against LSU that was 10 games. So I mean, we had a tough schedule, and we thought we were going to sneak in the back door, but it didn't happen. And I was relieved when I knew that was it. I knew I gave everything I had. I knew my body couldn't take no more, and I was at peace with that being the last time that I played football. In terms of going for pro or anything like that, I was content, and I have no regrets about that.
Wow. See, a lot of people hold on to those things and become bitter. And I mean, we hear it all the time. One in 10,000, one in whatever amount of people you want to name goes pro, gets
Right.
that type of thing. So that's a dope ending, though, that you internalize and accept it.
Absolutely. You got to be real with yourself. And I was real. One thing I always knew is that I knew that at some point this was going to come to an end. I was never one of those guys that was unrealistic. I always understood the game is the game, and I'm going to soak up as much as I can from it. I'm going to help out as much as I can. I'm going to be better because of it. And man, when it was time, I knew that I had just came off the best 2 games of my career. I felt like I was on cloud 9 anyway, but I had reached a point, that was it for me. I knew that I had reached my goals. I did everything that I wanted to do. And then, in translating from that point and coming home, I fought the urge to really coach. I fought it for like 2 or 3 years when I first came home.
Mm.
And Reno Faria again called me one day, like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you coaching? Like, what's going on? And I finally was like, all right, fine. If the opportunity comes, I'll take it. Lo and behold, it came, and that was that. Best decision I made too.
Really? So coaching at Herm was the best decision at that time?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was for me, again, my main thing is always to be able to give back to people that gave something to me. And like I told
Exactly.
you about Coach Kane, he had did so much for me. It wasn't just that when I went up to school, we stopped talking. He would check on me all the time, see how things were going. I would check on him. He wanted to know how school was going and everything of that nature. So we had a good relationship. And he was transitioning, lost a couple coaches. He asked me to come out along with Juju. And man, it was fun. We had so much fun together coaching. I coached on JV for 1 year. And then unfortunately, one of our coaches that got sick and couldn't coach anymore. And the running back coaching position became open on varsity. And I took that for 3 years. The last 2 years that I was there, Coach Kane had a lot of trust in me in terms of play calling. And he allowed me to have more input in the play calling for sure. I think I was maybe had like 5% of his trust the first year on varsity. And then it just gradually grew with me just doing taking the things I learned from playing the game, studying the game as much as possible, and showing him stuff that maybe he didn't even see on film. And he knew he could trust me and being his eye in the sky.
That's dope. That's dope. So that all those things have culminated and led to the moment we are at today. Unleash skills.
Yeah.
So explain it in your own words.
I mean, Unleash Skills to me, man, it's bigger than just being a speed, agility, and football fundamental program. It's a mentorship. My main thing is to reach out to these kids and be a resource and a place that they can come to if they have any type of questions. Like I tell them all the time, if the only thing that y'all know from me is what I teach you guys on the field, then I failed you as being a coach, as being a mentor, somebody in your life. For me, I just want to make sure that I make my impact through the game and touch these guys' lives in ways that they know that, I got guys from 10 years old up to about 15 years old. And I want them to know 10 years down the line, 25, 26 years old, you can call me, you could text me, you can reach out to me any way you can. If I need to write a letter of recommendation for you, I'll do it. If I can help you get on somewhere, I'll do it. If you can come help me, hopefully we still running Unleashed Skills 10, 15 years down the line. If you want to come be a part of the team, let's do that as well. So I just want to be of use to these kids in the community any way that I can, because, as much as I had a lot of youth coaches that were very influential in my life, a lot of them they were neighborhood heroes. They played at that program at Randolph, or they played at Laurel, wherever the case may be. They came back and they gave back. But it wasn't a time in that moment where it was guys that were going off to school, playing in college, and then coming back. And I think so that's what we're seeing now in the area in Richmond. We had so much talent that left out of here around that time when I was in high school. Even within that 2004 all the way through, we had so much guys leaving here that had so much talent, but they came back. A lot of those guys came back and gave back to the community, and that's what I wanted to do. And I think I'm reaching that point now where it's not about having 30 kids in my program. I think at the most I had 15 kids at one time. But if I can just have 5 all the time, if I had 1 come all the time, I wouldn't care. I'd give them the same amount of effort. But these guys are very eager to learn. They're very, very influential, man. They we joke all the time. I always ask them about grades and school and stuff of that nature. But I also try to ask them about the latest music that they're listening to, because I like to play music at our workouts. And they laugh at me when I suggest, stuff like Jeezy and T.I., because they don't want to listen to that type of stuff. They want to listen to Lil Baby and King Von, and they put me on to different things as well. So it's definitely been great, man. It allows me to have that same moment I had as a player, just about being out there with the guys.
Yeah, man. And obviously you had the mental capacity from young until now, and all that knowledge being shared with kids that may not get it. And I'm gonna say this, and it's not to be negative, but you mentioned coaches are a lot of times neighborhood heroes, whatever the case may be. A lot of times people tend to follow coaches based on their popularity, and maybe they're just a dad who loves
Hmm.
who doesn't know the game, but is always there. So I think sometimes we kind of get caught up in, I guess I don't want to, and I feel like I'm making it seem like it's a negative. It's a positive because they're trying to be there and support kids who may not have a coach at all.
Absolutely.
They kind of follow people who don't necessarily know what they're talking about, as opposed to somebody who may have the experience and the proof and the pudding that can show you the way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm an open book. I tell them all the time, you can ask me anything. I don't care what you ask me. Ask me anything you want. I'm gonna tell you from my experience. My experience, my way of getting there is going to be different than your experience, the way you got there. But you take the little bits and little bits of information that I give you, you can apply it to your situation. A lot of them have aspirations of going to college and playing, and that's cool. I have myself. I'm out there. I played college football. Justin Carr is out there helping me. He played college football, and then Juju Clayton is out there as well, helping with the quarterbacks, and he played college football. These are guys that have been in that same realm that you're trying to get to at all three levels. And Justin played a little bit at Towson at Division I, then he went to Virginia State. I was at Towson, obviously, and then Juju was at Virginia Tech. So we've been there. I walked that walk that you're trying to go on. Anything that you want, any information that I can give you, I'm going to give it to you. But understand that, you know, this road isn't as easy as everybody making it seem. Social media has allowed you to think that, oh, all I gotta do is pick up a football and I can do this. No, brother, you gotta put in the work. And if the only time you put in that work is when you with me on Saturday, then you already lost the game.
That's real.
Real talk. Our way of playing, our way of learning the game was, all right, let's go out in the backyard. You pick your five, I pick my five. That's how we got better. Now you got so many people in the area that are doing their thing, from quarterback coaches, running back coaches, offensive line academies, skills academies all over Richmond that doing that thing. These guys are coming back and giving back to the community, and it's tremendous because it's needed. A lot of these kids, they need that guidance. They need that pull away from social media and video games and anything that could be harming them, or really just giving those parents a break too. Letting them get into some stuff they need to get into, and allowing us to help for that hour, 2 hours we out there, and we can let those kids be in that space and have a good time.
Do you think when you talk about other camps or other skills programs, do you look at them as like competition, or do you look at them as like how is it? I mean, do you have a brotherhood with other guys that do skills or no?
I personally have not spoken to a lot of guys that are doing the skills thing. It's not a competition thing, but I do feel as though it can kind of make things a little tricky in a sense. Because I don't want to sway any of his guys to come to me, or any of my guys to go to them, or anything like that. But I definitely watch from afar. I definitely do my research. I have gone to a couple camps that some guys in the area have thrown, and I watch. I learn. I'm a student. I'm a student first. I'm always trying to learn. I'm always looking at videos and getting better. I'm always trying to attend seminars online, and or if it's a YouTube seminar online or something like that, I'm always trying to plug in and just learn as much as I can, because I don't know all the answers. And who am I to think that this guy that's also running a same program I'm running, that I can't learn from him, or maybe he could learn from me. You know what I mean? So I'm always plugging and trying to get information, but I also try to give respect, because it's a craft. That's their art and what they're trying to tap into. And I don't want to mix and mingle and think that I'm trying to take any clients, or whatever. I don't know. It's a tricky game. You know what I mean? So I just try to give guys their space and their respect. But I salute them from afar. I know kids that go to different programs in their area. They come to me. They might go to three other guys as well, or two other guys as well, and it's all love on my part. I love seeing it.
That's great. That's great. So I ain't gonna talk bad about your Cowboys.
Oh, I'm not a Cowboys fan. You can talk about it. I'm a Giants.
Wait, who are you a fan of?
The Giants.
Oh my!
Yeah, we good. We good. You can talk about Cowboys all you want.
Yeah, we're gonna skip all that. Did I miss anything? Is there anything else that you want the people to know about Unleashed Skills, or about anything?
Man, honestly, my main thing that I want people to understand is in terms of Unleashed Skills as a whole is that we are definitely more than just speed, agility, and football fundamental program. We are about being in the community. We are about being mentors to these young men. We are about being resources. We want to be something that these guys can come to, be a vessel for these guys to come to learn as much as they want. Get any tools you can from us, and we'll be glad to help you out in any way we can. And then also, man, just to my young guys out there, if you really, really want something, you really want to go for it. Not just my young guys, but young women as well. It doesn't matter. But if you really want something, you want to go for it. Don't just do it when it's good. This has been a tough time for all athletes and all people in general, but athletes as well, missing a lot of time from competition. Been really practicing since like last March and doing all these drill works and stuff like that. But you got to stay on it if that's your dream. If your dream is to go to that next level, you got to be able to go out there and weather that storm, because it's not going to get any easier when you get to that said dream. So just prepare yourself for the moment. And yeah, my main thing really is just be a vessel, man. I want to be giving back to community in Richmond and the surrounding areas, and do my part.
Respect, respect. Go ahead and drop that social media on them so they know where to find you.
Man, Instagram unleashed_skills. That's UNLEASE. Underscore skills. You can find me on there, and then also at Dom_book15 on Instagram and Twitter. And I actually spelled that wrong. It's no ED on Unleashed. I'm sorry. So it's Unleashed_skills. But yeah, find me on Instagram, Twitter, and man, Facebook, Dominique Booker. Please plug in with me. Tap in if you want to be down with the team. My email is in there on my Instagram as well. We could reach out and talk. And yeah, man, just thank you for having me as well, man. We go a long ways back from those flag days and just staying in touch, and then being able to build with each other. And I also salute you for what you do, man. You've been reaching to a lot of people in the community. I'm just blessed and thankful to be able to be on your platform and allowing me to tell my story.
No doubt, bro. I appreciate you doing it, man. Unleashed Skills, y'all know what it is. Dominique Booker.
We'll have more merch for you real soon, man. It's coming. The post office. I should have went FedEx with it, but I didn't. I went to the post office, man. So we got more stuff coming. It should be here first for my kids, and then definitely to the community at large, man. But we salute you guys and thank you so much for everybody that supported.
No doubt. Dominique Booker, once again, Source out here.
Thank you.